Hello everybody, my name's Austin. You can call me Austin. I'll be your guest reviewer on Go Nintendo, and today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil Revelations 2 for the Nintendo Switch. Let's just get the conclusion out of the way right away. Resident Evil Revelations 2 is pretty good. The single player is really campy and kind of bad, but maybe it was meant to be kind of bad, so if you like laughing at things, it will probably go alright. The single player can be played cooperatively locally, so if you have somebody to play that with, it's a real home run. If you don't have someone to play it with, it has this mode called the Raid mode, which is good if you like things to be very complicated and have a lot of intricacies and menus to look at, and things that you don't understand because you haven't played it enough. There's also a disgusting amount of things to unlock, so in general there's a lot of content. If you do play it cooperatively, it's sort of like a weird cross between Resident Evil 4 and Left 4 Dead. If all that sounds good, great. Resident Evil Revelations 2 will probably work pretty well for you. If you want to stick around and hear some of the nitty-gritty details, we can do that too. Hit it.
The Overseer might be inside. I say we go find out.
Bad idea. We should wait for dawn.
By dawn, we might all end up like Pedro.
So the story of the campaign basically goes like this. There's an old witch who lives on an island, and she wants everything to die because she is true and you are false. And when you play the game, it doesn't make any more sense than that, really. There's two stories that you're playing through. One of them is Claire and Moira, who got kidnapped for some reason, and they're wearing some bracelets, and when you get too scared, you turn into a big bug monster. And then someone has to kill you because you're a monster now, because you got scared. Yeah, honestly, it doesn't really make that much sense. At some point, the story became really annoying and boring. So to alleviate the boredom, I decided to put on everyone's alternate costumes. But pretty quickly you realize that that's a little bit gross. So then you turn them back to normal so you don't feel gross anymore. So that's one campaign, Claire and Moira trying to, I don't know, not die. Then you've got another campaign, which is Billy Ray Cyrus has teamed up with a little girl to save Claire and Moira, but this campaign takes place 6 months in the future. Ultimately, this amounts to the same thing as the other campaign, which is Billy Ray and the little girl do their best not to die.
You missed! Try lower! No! More right! You missed! Try lower! No! More right! There! Shoot! No! More right! There! Shoot!
In general, when you play it all by your lonesome, is sometimes fun in kind of an arcadey way, and it's good to laugh at because there's a lot of silly lines and things that happen.
Irony sure is a dick.
Moira, I don't think you actually met Neil.
But also, half the time, it's sort of insufferable because they do this interesting thing where they make the bosses so hard that you tend to just use all your ammo up right away, and then you have to spend the rest of the boss battle running in circles until about once every minute more ammo will spawn, which is an interesting way to make a boss battle because it's not fun, and you would think you'd want it to be fun, but I'm not a game designer. Within the Resident Evil franchise, whose widely considered best game, features a tiny Napoleon guy who lives in a castle and like kidnaps a lady and has a cult of monsters and attacks you with a giant fish. This isn't that different than that. It's kind of in that same wheelhouse. It's just a little bit more generic, which sort of sucks some of the fun of what a game like Resident Evil 4 had. Because Resident Evil 4 had like that guy and then that guy and then that guy. Whereas this game just has like But that's a big monster, and that's a big monster, and now we're in a warehouse all the time. So it's, you know, it kind of loses some of the zing. At first I was put off because it's one of those games, and this whole game is kind of like that has a lot of menus and customization and things to unlock and like very sort of boring things to do that give you points that you can use to unlock guns, basically. And all that menu stuff, it's super complicated, so if you're not into that, this is going to seem a little bit intimidating. However, once you get into it and you play this mode, which is called the raid mode, you can play it online, you can play it locally, or you can play it by yourself. It kind of plays out like a little microcosm of a Left 4 Dead 2 mission, which is kind of awesome, especially if you have a friend to play with. But even if you're just looking to kill some time, you know, stave off some anxiety, de-stress a little bit, it's kind of a great, it seems like it would be a really great mode to sit down with and lose your life to. You may be able to tell by my general appearance and demeanor, I'm not a super technically focused guy. As far as I can tell, this game runs pretty well on the Switch. It does make the fan go really loud. Don't know if that's a problem, but it does do that. If you get a lot of smoke on the screen, the frame rate can kind of dip. Sometimes the textures are like low res ugly, you know, whatever, but I think it looks fine. Loading times are kind of annoying, but yeah, you know, it's fine. And it's kind of annoying that sometimes when you open a door, it fades to black and then fades back in. I find that kind of annoying. The game also has a lot of cliched gameplay moments. For example, they'll be like, well, we need to get through this door, but it's out of power, so we have to go find and turn on the power, but the power is behind this door, and for this door we need to carry this box and set it on this lever, but unfortunately Barry will throw his back out if he carries the box too far, so you have to set it down on conveyor belts. And so it's like these sort of, you know, keyhole MacGuffin scenarios that are very typical of this type of game, but if you hate that type of stuff, maybe it's not a game for you. So, I mean, really, again, the TLDR is if you have somebody to play it with reliably, this is, I mean, for 20 bucks, you're getting a lot of stuff here that will be a lot of fun if you like this type of sort of action, crunchy sort of action game with leveling up. If you do not have somebody else to play it with, I think it kind of comes down to whether or not you play games to be impacted or to learn about yourself and about life, or if you play games just to sort of pass the time before you go to bed and go to work again. If it's the latter, you probably get a good amount of enjoyment out of a $20 pretty meaty game. So, but you know, those are the questions you've got to ask yourself. All right, thank you for letting me review this game for you on GoNintendo.com. GoNintendo's a great website, don't you agree? I definitely do. Some people don't think it's a great website and might feel inclined to send an email about how it's not a great website and how they're angry. To those people, I say, shut down your computer. Go in timeout. Anyway, that's that. If you like the way I talk, I do have a YouTube channel, but I'm sure most of you already know about it. So, yeah. How's it going, raw meat? The review is officially over, so you may turn off the video.